Welcome to Hollywood Graveyard, where we set out to remember and celebrate the lives of those who lived to entertain us by visiting their final resting places. Today we're exploring Valhalla Memorial Park, where Jiminy Cricket, Elmer Fudd, and Betty Rubble are buried. It's true. Oliver Hardy is here too. Join us, won't you? Pierce Brothers Valhalla Memorial Park is located a few miles north of Hollywood in the San Fernando Valley, where the dead are treated to the frequent spectacle of planes taking off from nearby Burbank Airport. The cemetery was founded in 1923 and was among the first in the area to feature flat cemetery markers. Its most notable feature is the Grand Rotunda, which was dedicated in 1925 and stood over the original main entrance. In 1953, on the 50th anniversary of the Wright brothers' first flight, the rotunda was rededicated as the Portal of the Folded Wings, a shrine to aviation. Our first stop is just to the east of the current main entrance off Cahuenga. Here we'll find the man known as the Last Stooge, Curly Joe DeRita. Joe took on the role of Curly after the death of Jerome Howard, the original Curly. He performed with the Stooges until they disbanded in the 1970s. On the eastern edge of this lawn is the Mausoleum of the Resurrection. Inside, high on the back wall, is the niche of composer Leigh Harline, the man who penned the song that quickly became the theme of the Walt Disney Company, When You Wish Upon a Star.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
The song and score, written for Pinocchio, won him an Academy Award. He wrote music for many other Disney films, including Snow White. Up the road a little ways, on this same lawn to the east, we'll find a handful of stars. Valhalla isn't the best at ensuring their graves don't become overgrown. In fact, I actually had to dig up this next one. But here she is, trailblazing African-American actress, Madame Sul-Te-Wan. The daughter of freed slaves, character actress Madame Sul-Te-Wan, birth name Nellie Crawford, was the first African-American actor, male or female, to sign a film contract and be a featured performer. She won praise for her role as Tituba in the film Maid of Salem, and can also be seen in King of the Zombies. Despite limitations Hollywood placed on African-American performers in that era, she worked steadily, and in 1986 was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. A few spaces northeast is the grave of Arthur Q. Bryan, the man who originated the voice of Elmer Fudd, one of the few Looney Tunes characters not voiced by Mel Blanc.
Shh. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
The Q stands for quirk. Seriously. Just northeast of Arthur is another African-American trailblazer, actor Willie Best, sometimes credited as Sleep and Eat. Best was one of the first African-American actors to become well-known, receive regular screen credit, and be given proper character names. He can be seen in the Charlie Chan film The Red Dragon, as well as alongside Bob Hope in The Ghostbreakers, Hope once referring to Best as one of the finest talents he had worked with. Producer Hal Roach offered similar praise of Best. Limited by the racist attitudes of early Hollywood, Best was a tremendous talent who was never able to fully spread his wings, but worked hard with what he was given and paved the way for African-American comedians to follow. Continuing slightly southeast, we find the grave of George Melford, one of the great directors of early Hollywood. Most notably, he directed Rudolph Valentino in his career-defining role in The Sheik. After 35 years in the director's chair, Melford eased up his workload and focused on character acting, including a role in Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments. Straight west, just across the street, we find the grave of one of Hollywood's legendary makeup artists, Bud Westmore. Part of the Westmore dynasty of makeup artists, Bud worked on hundreds of notable films like To Kill a Mockingbird and Spartacus. But it is for his work at Universal creating monsters and aliens that he is best remembered, including Gillman in The Creature from the Black Lagoon with Disney animator Millicent Patrick. He also did the makeup on popular TV shows like The Munsters. Back across the street, to the northeast, is a small walled garden area. Here we find the grave of Oliver Hardy, one half of legendary comedy duo Laurel and Hardy. Ollie was the pompous, rotund character to Stan's lean, childlike character. They starred in over 100 films together, both silent and talkie. Curious how he died? Let's watch. Okay, so that was just a scene from their film, The Flying Deuces. He actually died of a stroke at the ripe old age of 65. His cremated remains are buried at this spot in the middle of the garden. Back in the car, turning right at the large fountain, we drive all the way down to the south central part of the cemetery. Just before the intersection, next to the road, we find the grave of actor Barton MacLane, who starred alongside Humphrey Bogart in the classic film The Maltese Falcon. He can also be seen in his recurring role as General Peterson on I Dream of Jeannie. Due to construction, we'll have to head back around the way we came to make it to the main road east of the large fountain. Heading east on this road, just before the newly constructed crypt structures, we find the grave of actress Martha Vickers right next to the road on the north side. Vickers, whose married name was Rojas, began her career as a model and first appeared on screen in the 1943 film Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. One of her more notable roles was as Carmen in The Big Sleep. She died of cancer at just 46. Continuing east on this road, we arrive at the portal of the Folded Wings. In front of the portal is a memorial to the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia, who perished when the shuttle disintegrated upon re-entry on February 1st, 2003. While not exactly Hollywood, it's good to stop and remember these brave, pioneering men and women for their contributions to the advancement of humanity. Heading into the portal, on the wall to the right, we find a memorial for famed aviator Amelia Earhart. She was the first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, which she accomplished in 1932, making her an instant worldwide celebrity. During an attempt to circumnavigate the globe in 1937, she disappeared somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. The mystery of her disappearance lingers to this day, fueling a broad spectrum of theories as to what exactly happened to her on that fateful flight. Out back of the portal, in the Garden of Remembrance, is a wall of plaques. Here we find one of Hollywood's legendary stuntmen, Yakima Canutt. He was a champion rodeo rider before doubling for stars like Clark Gable and John Wayne, mainly in Western films, quickly becoming the premier stunt performer in the 1930s. He worked closely with John Wayne to pioneer many stunt techniques still used in Hollywood today. Perhaps most notably, he staged and directed the epic chariot race for the 1959 film Ben-Hur. Continuing north along this outer road, we stop at the next intersection. As mentioned earlier, construction and renovations have closed off some of the smaller roads, so we'll have to park here and take a bit of a walk. No problem though, it's a beautiful day, the air cool and clean from a recent rainstorm. Once we reach the large tree next to a trash bin, we turn south. About a quarter of the way into the lawn is the grave of Claudia Dell, who was a model and actress. She can be seen in films like The Woman Condemned and Sweet Kitty Bellairs. And according to legend, producer Harry Cohn was so taken by her beauty, he used her as the model for the Columbia Pictures logo. Back in the car, we continue up and around to the northern section of the cemetery. We'll stop just past the first intersection and head southwest to the far side of this lawn to find Gail Russell. Otherworldly beauty, Gail Russell was poised to be a huge star, appearing in films like Angel and the Bad Man and Wake of the Red Witch. But her career suffered from her long struggle with alcoholism, a struggle which would eventually claim her life at the young age of 36. Back to the road, just a short distance further west on the north side, is the grave of silent film actress Mae Murray, known as the girl with the bee-stung lips. She was a headliner in the Ziegfeld Follies before moving on to the silver screen, where she quickly became one of Hollywood's biggest stars. In 1919, she starred alongside newcomer Rudolph Valentino in The Delicious Little Devil, and found critical acclaim a few years later in The Merry Widow. The advent of the talkies spelled doom for her career, like so many others, and she soon fell into obscurity, dying penniless after several failed comeback attempts. Earlier in our tour, we met the man who wrote When You Wish Upon a Star. Now we visit the man who brought that song to life. Known as Ukulele Ike, Cliff Edwards was the voice of Jiminy Cricket in Disney's Pinocchio.
When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
A little further west is Robert Lowery, an actor who frequently played roles in action films, such as The Mark of Zorro and The Mummy's Ghost. He was also the second actor to play Batman on screen in the 1949 serial Batman and Robin. Continuing west, we find Frank Lackteen, a Lebanese-born actor who is best remembered for his frequent roles as the exotic villain. He starred in over 200 films, including Tarzan the Fearless and The Seawolf. Straight south, just across the road, is the grave of Aneta Corsaut, who played Helen Crump on The Andy Griffith Show. She can also be seen in the 1958 movie The Blob. Back in the car, we continue around toward the main entrance, past the large fountain to the far west side of the cemetery, where there are a series of open-air mausoleums. In the courtyard of Remembrance is a wall of niches. Right at eye level is the niche of Charles Criswell King. The amazing Criswell was a radio and television personality who made psychic predictions about the future on his television program, Criswell Predicts, and later in a book of predictions to the year 2000. The flamboyant psychic often made wildly inaccurate predictions, such as the destruction of Denver by some jelly-like substance, Mae West becoming president in 1960, and the end of the world on August 18, 1999. You can see him in the opening of the cult classic, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day. We are giving you all the evidence, based only on the secret testimony of the miserable souls who survived this terrifying ordeal. The incidents, the places. My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Let us punish the guilty. Let us reward the innocent. My friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?
Criswell is said to have slept each night in a coffin. Just south is the Courtyard of Devotion, where we'll find the grave of one of Hollywood's great art directors, Richard Day. He designed such legendary films as On the Waterfront, A Streetcar Named Desire, and The Grapes of Wrath. His work earned him 7 Oscars and an additional 13 nominations. Finally, we head south to the outer wall of the Mausoleum of Hope, where we'll find a woman who was a staple on radio and television from the 40s to the 60s. Actress Bea Benaderet can be seen in many popular television series of the era, including The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show and Petticoat Junction. She also lent her unique voice and laugh to the Looney Tunes as Granny and the Flintstones as Betty Rubble. And that concludes our tour. What are some of your favorite memories of the stars we visited today? Share them in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more famous grave tours. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. So this is pretty cool. As part of Valhalla's renovation efforts, they've covered one of their roads with lawn. giving the appearance of a long green carpet running through the cemetery. In life, stars walk the red carpet. In death, the carpet is green.